We are reminded of the events that happened to Keita, the boy whom Yotsuya previously rescued from being used by the Yakuza. While everyone at their school was preparing for the summer vacation, Yotsuya, Shindou, Hakozaki, and Takatati are feeling anxious, knowing that the next quest they will need to do is about to pop up. Soon enough, they all get transported into the other world, where they get to meet the newest addition to their party, Keita. The game master shows up and gives them their new quest. This time they need to offer the Jiffen Buffo at Victimania within the next 20 days. To help them with their journey, they are now able to use a teleportation ability, allowing the party to instantly go to places they had visited before. Before leaving, the game master grants Keita the warrior of the spear jaw. Yotsuya wants them to hurry on ahead to a familiar town so they would figure out what it is they have to do as soon as possible, as they don't know the meaning of the quest. His attitude bothers Keita, and the two of them get into an argument. Shindou steps in and gives Keita a very brief rundown of what is going on in this world and what they are supposed to do. Afterwards, Keita challenges Yotsuya on a one-on-one match. During the match, Keita insists that Yotsuya uses the same magical ability he used to defeat the Yakuza member back in Japan when he saved Keita and his brother. Yotsuya does so, and while he is confident in his victory, Keita manages to break free of the effect, turning the tables and defeating Yotsuya. After the match, the party teleports to Korgonal, the town where their friend Kavel used to live. Upon finding Kavel, they learn that 15 years had passed in this world since the last time they were here, and in that period of time, she had become a mother. From her, they learned that after they left, the kingdom of Diok declared war in their attempt to unify the continent. During those battles, she had lost her arm and left the battlefield behind. Later on, Kavel talks to Yotsuya in private. It is then that she confesses the feelings she had for him, telling him how she fell in love with him during their adventure. After giving him a kiss, she apologizes for getting older on her own. The next day, the party heads out onto the sea. As they learn from Kavel that Jiffen is a small volcano island, the sailing is smooth, and soon they are on the island, created by two girls named Yana and Aoyu, who turn out to be ritual dancers, also known as Vaikidam. As soon as the two girls realize they are not mercenaries, their warm attitude changes, turning them quite unfriendly. Apparently, they have been trying to recruit mercenaries and some other people who traveled with them on the same ship. Keita decides to play along, declaring how they will become mercenaries as well, which makes the two ritual dancers treat them kindly and answer their questions. From them, they learn that a Jiffen Buffo is an animal commonly found on this island, and the Victimania is a yearly festival that happens here. Aoyu and Yana explain how there cannot be a Victimania festival this year, as they do not have enough food for it. The reason for that are the orcs that showed up 5 years ago and took over the Kumo castle on the island. They tried to fight them at first, but they lost, and before the orcs completely wiped them out and ate them, they offered them the buffo meat as an alternative. The orcs allowed some of them to live on so they could tend to the buffos, using them as food in place of humans. And considering that the orcs keep multiplying, soon there will not be enough buffos for all of them, and they will turn to eating humans again. That is why they ask for mercenaries to come and help them out. Yotsuya realizes that for their quest to be successfully cleared, they need to not only rid the island of orcs, but also ensure the safety of the two ritual dancers so Victimania can be performed. A spy listens into their conversation and brings the news to the Orc Queen, who seems excited by the information. The mercenaries who came to Jiffen are training the locals, trying to prepare them to fight the orcs. Their leader, Cantold, is reassured when the heroes express their desire to join them as well. However, during their tryout, it becomes obvious that Yotsuya, Hakozaki, and Takatati do not possess the skills required to fight the orcs, so they are not selected for the combat teams. This infuriates Yotsuya, and he rushes off to level up. Since there are no monsters except for the orcs on this island, he has to do other things like farming and cooking. Because he has the farmer and cook jobs, this allows him to earn experience as well. The party learns more about the mercenaries as they train together. A short boy called Rice is very agile and helps Keita polish his skills with the spear. Wall gets into an argument with some locals who are not happy with the idea that they have to fight, blaming the mercenaries for not doing their work. Campbell tries to calm them down, explaining how they need to be determined enough to fight in order to protect their homes, or they will just get wiped out if the ones they hired fail to defeat the orcs. This just creates more tensions among the locals, with some insisting they should have never tried to fight the orcs. The argument gets interrupted by an orc that happens to come along. The orc is a tough opponent, but since it is only one, the mercenaries manage to bring him down. The locals realize that the orcs must have learned of their plans to attack them. This causes the arguing to escalate, until one of the mercenaries puts an end to it. Yana recognizes him as Thanza, a former resident of the island who left as a kid. Thanza manages to convince the locals to calm down and work together against the orcs in honor of their ancestors and for the sake of their future. All the hard farm work paid off for Yotsuya as he levels up enough to get another job, which turns out to be the blacksmith. Thanks to that job, he is able to create weapons and armor that anyone can use. Realizing the potential of that skill, he goes to the local blacksmith in order to learn from him. Under the blacksmith's tutelage, Yotsuya quickly improves his skill and creates a melee weapon that he can use against the orcs. Displaying the potential of his new weapon to Kantle, he gains his approval and is included in those who will fight the orcs. Hakozaki is worried about Yotsuya since he has been working almost non-stop to make weapons and gain experience, but when she brings it up with him, he explains how for him his own health is not a priority, promising to her that he will make sure that she and Shindou return back to their world no matter what, while considering the rest of the group replaceable. Kantle happens to overhear that conversation and warns Yotsuya that this sort of thinking is dangerous for his own sake, telling them more about his past as a general. Their conversation gets interrupted by the news of orcs attacking the harbor. Arriving at the scene, they see Thanza fighting back against 3 orcs while the other locals at the harbor have already been wiped out. The orcs are hard to beat, with Shindou and Hakozaki getting killed almost immediately. Yotsuya shifts the direction of the battle as he arrives with a new weapon he built, which is a massive crossbow that fires metal stakes instead of bolts. This weapon packs such a punch that the stakes are able to pierce the orcs' bodies entirely. They manage to defeat the 3 orcs with no further losses by killing 1 and forcing the remaining 2 to retreat. They hold a strategy meeting and position their troops around the key locations on the island, preparing for the orcs' attack. At first, it seems like their stronghold is safe from the orcs thanks to Yotsuya's crossbow, but then the orcs begin throwing large rocks at the walls, eventually breaking through. In order to buy more time for those inside the walls, Rice sacrifices himself, allowing the others to finish off the orcs and evacuate the stronghold. Hakozaki regroups with the 3 at the stronghold and they head for the blacksmith's workshop to make more ammunition for the crossbow. Meanwhile, Shindou and Kantle are confused by the way the orcs are attacking, realizing that their main target must be the ship on which they evacuated the women and children before the fighting began. Following up on that logic, they go to investigate and run into the Orc Queen as she is preparing to swim towards the ship. After a quick chat, the huge Orc Queen attacks both of them, forcing them to struggle for their lives. Arriving at the blacksmith's shop, Yotsuya's group find that it has been attacked by the orcs as well. The mercenaries and locals who defended it managed to win, but at a high cost. Lal has died and Katz has been injured. Realizing that they need to evacuate the wounded to a safer place, Hakozaki convinces some locals to stay behind and help her and Takatati while Yotsuya and Hakozaki escort the wounded. After escorting them to Yana and Aoyu, who are at the sacred ground of the Vacanam Cave, Yotsuya and Hakozaki start an attack on the Kumo Castle together with a handful of locals. On the beach, Shindou and Kantle jump the queen from behind cover, but their attack is thwarted by a sudden strong earthquake. The earthquake is the result of the volcano erupting and fiery rocks start raining down onto the entire island. Due to the strong shakes, the Vacanam Cave collapses, separating Aoyu and Yana. Distracted by the events, Shindou gets killed by the queen and tossed into the sea, preventing her from coming back to life. She realizes that the sea began receding, which signals the forming of a tsunami, but she is unable to convey that information to anyone else. The volcano continues erupting, pouring rivers of lava down and destroying the village. Those who are able to run do what they can to reach high ground, as in the distance they can see the tsunami approaching. The Orc Queen and Kantle are caught by the wave, getting washed off. Inside of the Kumo Castle, Yotsuya's group meets up with Aoyu. She used an old secret passage to evacuate the remaining wounded from the collapsed cave, and it led them here. Yotsuya quickly forms a plan on how to deal with the remaining orcs inside of the castle. Aoyu and Yana hold a motivating speech to those around them, trying to give them hope. At that point, the volcano emits an even greater eruption, followed by a dragon rising out of it. The dragon does not seem to be attacking anyone, so they ignore it for now and focus on the orcs. While trying to lure them out so they can finish them off, Yotsuya realizes that they are staying inside to protect a very young Orc Queen. In the meanwhile, the actual Orc Queen has managed to survive the tsunami, swimming towards and boarding the ship with women and children. However, Thanza followed after her, engaging her in combat to protect the locals. The castle remained strong in spite of all the quakes and lava, and their Yotsuya came up with a new plan to take out the orcs residing inside of it. Putting it in motion, he manages to get in and grab the young queen, baiting the last remaining orc to follow after him as he runs out and tosses her into the lava. With the orc trying to save the young one, he knocks him over as well, making both of them fall into the liquid death. As he watches them melt in the lava, he curses himself for being so weak that he had to do this. Yana realizes that everyone is getting weaker because some sort of magic is slowly draining their life force, making it flow towards the dragon. Another gigantic wave hits the boat, throwing Thanza off balance and giving the queen an opening to strike. Just as she is about to finish him off, Shindou arrives and saves him. With the receding water, she was able to revive and head for the ship. By removing her heavy armor, she became very agile, allowing her to face the queen one-on-one. She kept dancing around her, cutting her over and over again. Thanks to that, the queen was slow to notice and react to the fact that the large waves pushed the boat all the way to the island, ending up within range of the giant crossbow that was by the blacksmith shop. From there, Hakozaki manages to shoot her, while Thanza gets back up on his feet and follows up by finishing her off. Yotsuya converses with Aoyu, learning from her that the life forces of people are being drained towards the top of the volcano where the dragon is. With nothing else to do but investigate, he and Keita head out to take a look. Reaching the top, Keita gets blasted away by the dragon, and Yotsuya realizes that there is no way for them to fight and win against it. Running away from it, he tackles Raji, the same local they met while climbing towards the top, in an attempt to bring him to safety. Raji, thinking that his identity as a dragon bishop has been revealed, spills the beans and reveals it himself. Yotsuya realizes that Raji was responsible for bringing the orcs to this island in the first place, as this bloodshed was part of his plan. A fight breaks out, but he is unable to win against him, even after Keita comes back to life and comes to help. Raji also realizes that he cannot kill the heroes, so he makes his escape while they are waiting on their revival timer. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.